Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Kim from Finca Luna Nueva in Costa Rica, and we're going to be talking about how to create a living classroom for guests to engage with. So over to you, Kim.
This is a very interesting question because many hotels start as a hotel, and we did completely the opposite. We were a farm. My dad started this farm in 1994, and we grew turmeric and ginger organically. And that's what my dad. He's a farmer, he loves farming, passion. And little by little, we created this beautiful environment, and we were right next to the children's eternal rainforest, which gave us so much, biodiversity, and so it was just a very rich place to be in. So then we decided to create a lodge around our farm. So I guess it's different because what we did in the beginning is we started learning about our farm and learning about nature and how we could share that with anybody who visited us. And before it was just like daily visits when we didn't have the lodge. And we had from, people from all over the world, like biologists, scientists, just anybody who wanted to learn about organic farming. And my dad and his associate Tom Newmark founded this place and started learning along with the nature because they didn't know as much as they know now 30 years later. And they worked with the local farmers who knew so much about the land. When guests come to our place, there's just so much going on. There's birds, there's sloths, there's flowers blooming, there's so many different things. And you come into our reception and you do all the check-in process and you think you've seen it all. But very little do they know that when they do the farm tour, that's where everything changes, where our guests do not expect to learn so much from a tour, like a two-hour tour. And so we call it a living classroom because, you don't expect it to be an educational journey because you're there to relax and you're there to have fun and you're with your family and, you have a pool and you have a jacuzzi and you have places to walk and hike and do yoga. But then when you do the farm tour, just everything that you think you knew about our farm was so far off because the farm tour really explains where we began and why we're doing what we're doing. And that's where the role of our farm comes in as, we're not just organic and we're regenerative. And what does that mean? And it starts from the process of, going to the restaurant, what I'm eating, where does most of my food in the restaurant comes from and why it isn't so important. So it is a living classroom because everything from day one is learning. And either, it could be frogs, it could be sloth, it could be agriculture, whatever you're interested in, but you can learn so much of whatever you're interested in. So that's what is so rich about Finca Luna Nueva is that you come to have a good time, but then you leave with so much knowledge that you really didn't think you're gonna, have when you went back home. So that's where we are, and that's why we call it a living classroom.
That's amazing. And Kim, in regards to the living classroom, is that something that evolved over time, or did you know from the outset that you wanted the guests to feel that way?
We knew from the beginning that we wanted to be a center for education. And we didn't really know at the time what that meant because what we were doing, we were opening the doors to our farm to anybody who was specifically interested in farming and not just having a good time, So when we created the lodge, we wanted to keep that philosophy and keep our mission intact. And how did we, how it was challenging because, my dad was a farmer. He was never been in the hotel industry, and it's a different new world for him. So it was challenging. And we also needed to while maintaining our farm and our rainforest and doing the things that we were doing before, now we needed to take care of our guests and help them and solve their needs while giving them our mission and showing them our place and just letting them know what was so important about what we started in 1994. So the farm tour was a great place to start because it was free, first of all, and we did it every day at 9 a.m. We still do it, and that gave the opportunity for everybody to have that contact with my dad or the naturalist guide, to have all this knowledge been given to them. So it was challenging, and I think over the years it's been a it's been a learning process for everybody, because my dad knew a lot, but then he needed to write a script that was easy for guests to understand. Sometimes it became very technical, and sometimes a lot of biologists would understand, but maybe a family who's never heard of it might have a hard time understanding. So translating what nature wanted to say was the challenge, but it's been improved over the years. And we can say now, when you do the farm tour, we needed to keep it short and sweet. So because we have kids, and we have maybe teenagers, and we have all these different ages at the same time, and the message needed to come across, and we needed to make sure that the message was clear and that everybody was going to understand. So my dad and everybody who was involved in the farm worked really hard to do a script that was easy to understand. And I could say with no hesitation right now that it's a very easy and nice stroll in the rainforest, a 2-hour stroll where you're eating fruits and you're eating plants and you're learning and you're touching and you're feeling and you're smelling. So it's been a great experience, and it takes time. It's not an overnight thing, but with the years and with the feedback from clients, because that's very important. We needed the feedback to see if they had learned what we thought, what we wanted to come across, and they did. So little by little, we've been improving and making it more fun, but at the same time, just keeping our mission intact.
What other elements have you or do you plan to introduce to help that living classroom feeling outside of the farm tour?
Well, the farm tours, we always mention it first because it's our essence, but we also do have many other trails and many other things that you can experience. We have birding tours. We have our sacred seeds garden, which is a medicinal garden where we have over 300 species, and we have a booklet that you can look and see, it's the largest one in Central America. And, as animals become endangered, plants do as well. So we wanted to have a place where we can have these endangered plants and species in one place. So anybody who's interested in birds will have the chance to do only birding. Some that are, interested in plants will have only plants, the sacred seeds plants. This year we started a new thing in the farm tour where at the end we would have chocolate, made right there and then. We have a chocolate tour also, but then we wanted people to, dab into the chocolate and try it. And right next to our cacao plantation where the chocolate comes from. And we wanted the kids to eat popsicles with fruit from our farm. And, just create a little bit more like a fun experience at the end where you have a fresh lemonade or, with lemongrass from our farm. So we just wanted to introduce everything at the end. Like, this is how, when you eat this, be so mindful that you just did a 2-hour tour and now eating something that you just came and saw where it came from. So we're connecting that. We're making that connection between our food and where it comes from. And kids love it. It's been like a crazy experience. We also have the dairy. So you can go to the dairy and see when you're having your breakfast, and there's yogurt and there's kefir. and then you go and you milk the cows in the morning, very early in the morning, sorry. And so it's just such a rich experience. And when you come into the farm, you can do pretty much anything that you want to do, and you can wander around in our trails. And so it's specific. You can't say it's only for children because adults love it, but we needed to create an environment where it was safe for everybody to be in. And we have a lot of staff in our farm, but another staff in our hotel. So everything's been catered um, in a nice way and to provide a full experience. And that's the reason why we didn't just stay as a farm, because we could have just stayed as a farm and have tours and open it to the public. But we wanted people to really live the experience, which is completely different than just visiting a place for a day. So when you come and stay with 3, 4, 5 days, and we notice now that people stay longer, they come in for 1 or 2 nights, and then they come back because they want to stay longer because there was so much that they didn't get to do, that they didn't have time. So it's a holistic approach of our farm, and that's what we want to offer to everybody. It's a place where you can do pretty much anything that you like doing.
So for other properties thinking about it, that's where they would begin, with a free tour or something to engage them first. The last question I had about that, really, Kim, because it's really interesting, is do you ever get any resistance from certain guests that don't want to engage, or do you find that everybody that comes to you wants to engage in your living classroom?
We'd say probably 95% of guests do the farm tour. And there are that 5% that just want to come and relax. But it is part of our mission during their stay to provide something else. So there might be resistance, but then we need to work on ways to have them open up to the rainforest and nature. So we do like a little, we talk to our guests. That's something that we try to do as much as possible, and just see what they're interested in. They might not know what else is there to see. Maybe they think it's going to be only regenerative agriculture that they're going to see. So we try to do a little introduction over maybe breakfast or at lunch. And we ask them, where are you coming from, and what's your expectation, and is there anything that we can do for you? Are you interested in something else? We have hot springs nearby, so people are especially interested about maybe adventure and stuff like that. But we try as much as we can to explain the different and various things that we have and that we can offer, so that guest doesn't leave our place without knowing our essence and what our plan and our vision and why we exist. So it is our mission, and our guides and our staff are all very aware that if there is some resistance, we need to open up with our culture and our pura vida style to approach them and and engage with them and see how we can give them that link and that path to open up to nature, and to maybe just have a quick walk with the nature guide, and then get them a little bit more interested. Maybe they're not interested in the fields, but maybe they want to do chocolate. They like chocolate. So, there's so many different ways that we can engage them. So that's what we do when we find, but very rarely this happens. I think people that make the decision to visit us have a sense and awareness. It might be just healthy eating, or it might be they have some awareness of sustainability, or they've heard about it. But I think their strong decision of visiting us is because we're offering something that is authentic and that it's really good for the environment.
What advice would you give to maybe another property, an eco lodge owner or eco hotel that maybe didn't start the way you did, because you started the other way round? You were a farm, and then you decided to become a place for tourists to come and stay. What if you did the other way round? What advice would you give to them to start maybe thinking a bit more like a living classroom?
It's very important for each business to really pin down what they want to offer. You have to stay true to the essence of your company. And I think that's where all the answers lie. If you want to give an experience that is authentic, then you really need to look within and what you have around you and listen to nature. I mean, that's the way we approach it. Is you have to very stay true to your vision, and whatever your mission or your vision is, you need to try to look for ways to promote that, and not just cater to any guests that happen, make everybody happy, but you have to make your business happy. And in doing so, there's a lot of trial and error, and you need to learn. But, in Costa Rica or whoever, Eco Lodge, you do have the resources, and you need to learn what nature is trying to tell you and what it is important for people to visit you, to learn. What do you want them to learn? What do you want them to experience? If you don't have that clear, your guests won't have it clear at all. So you need to be really mindful of what you are in order to provide something. So we knew from the beginning that we wanted to be a regenerative farm with regenerative agriculture. Everything else that we did after that was just adding to our vision. But it wasn't because we wanted to have money. If our goal was going to attract money, it probably wouldn't have worked, because there's so many ways to please people. But the way that we wanted to please the people was by pleasing our environment and pleasing our healthy and our soils and our staff and our community. And once you do that, then your guests are going to have the experience that you want them to have. But you just need to have that so clear within yourself and within, and have a plan and a business plan set in order to provide that experience. So, and I see this happening in many, many companies where they don't have their goals clear, and where their main vision is attracting money to be profitable. And of course, we all want that. But if you wanted it to be organic, and if you wanted it to be authentic and real, I think the best thing that you can do is look inward and see where you want to go and what you want your guests to experience. After that, after you have that clear, everything else is just asking for feedback.